Hello everyone, I welcome you all to my YouTube channel, which is the Cloud Virus. My name is Virender and I'm working as a senior cloud consultant. I'm having 10 plus years of experience and I'm 10 times AWS Azure and Google Cloud certified. So, welcome you all to this new particular video. And in today's video, we are going to discuss a very important topic, whether you are a student or whether you are a IT professional or maybe you are working on any particular cloud, right? So it's very important to implement that kind of infrastructure inside your organization so that you will be able to secure the backend resources. Now, in this particular demonstration video, we are going to see how we can implement AWS Web Application Firewall so that we'll be able to block the SQL injection and with the based on the geolocation maybe, and also we are going to work on the query string parameters as well. Now in this particular video we are going to make this web application firewall attached with the application load balancer, to block these kind of requests which will be coming from the internet to our backend resources. That is what is the agenda of this particular demonstration. Now, this particular tutorial, whatever we are going to do inside this particular demonstration, we will be walk through the process of setting up an application load balancer. We'll set up first the application load balancer in the Elastic Load Balancer service of AWS, and this advanced load balancing solution will basically gives us ability so that we'll be able to divide the incoming application traffic in between two EC2 instances. So these Elastic Compute Cloud EC2 instances are nothing but your virtual machines in the backend infrastructure. So you will be able to divide the incoming traffic with the help of this load balancer technology. We will be having a series of regulations as well. We'll be configuring some regulations in the AWS Management Console with the help of the web application firewall so that we'll be able to prevent the access from specific geographical locations. Like if you want that, if request is coming from America only, the request will not able to access the information on the particular server, so that we can do with the geographical location accessibility configuration, and will be also safeguard against the SQL injection attacks as well. Sometimes hackers or those kind of people, negative people, or maybe which are not good for the organization and they wants to access something crucial information from the backend server, so we'll be able to block those requests with the help of web application firewall and also with the help of query string parameters as well, right? So in a particular URL of a DNS, you sometimes see that after this question mark character, there is something written on this particular URL that is nothing but your query string parameter, right? So these all things we are going to discuss in this particular video. And now let me just show you the particular architecture, what is this entire architecture will look like, and this entire demonstration will look like. Whatever we are going to do, that we will be having two Amazon EC2 instances, right? This is our web server 1 and this is our web server 2. We will attach those web servers with our application load balancer so that it will equally will be able to distribute the traffic among these different virtual machines basically, right? And we'll be using the AWS web application firewall to protect the different requests based on the geolocation, based on the query string, and will be able to protect our you know resources from these SQL injection attacks as well. So this will be the particular architecture for this entire demonstration as well. And let's just have a little bit information about this AWS web application firewall. What is this web application firewall? So it is a web application firewall, guys, that helps us to so that we can protect our web applications basically against common web exploits that might affect our availability and compromise the security of the backend infrastructure, right? So that is what is your web application firewall. It gives us the control, kind of control, that how the traffic will reach to your application, and you can configure this web application firewall in such a way that you can enable or you can create some security type of rules over there, and you can block the common attacks patterns like SQL injection, cross-site scripting. These kind of attacks will not be affecting your backend resources if you configure this web application firewall in such a way. right? It only allows the request to reach the server based on the rules and patterns that you are going to configure. We can, our users create their own rules, and we can also specify the conditions in web application firewalls, which searches for the incoming web request. Whatever the type of request is, it will be coming from the internet, it will be able to, you know, filter out those requests based on the configurations we are going to do with the help of this web application firewall. And whatever you are going to use pay as you go pricing model, you will have to pay for the web application firewall. And this pricing is also based on how many rules you are basically deploying with the help of web application firewall. For an example, you can deploy a WAF on Amazon CloudFront, which is a CDN, content delivery network service, and load balancer, or your API gateway. So you can integrate this WAF with the different particular services as well of AWS, right? Let's move towards the AWS management console and let's see how this entire demonstration is going to be happen, right? So let's just start this video and let me just hide out myself so that you will be able to see this entire screen, right? So the very first task, as we have seen that in the backend, we will have some EC2 instances. So first let's create those two EC2 instances and then we'll move towards the next steps, right? So very first task is that we have to go to the EC2 section. Let's move to the EC2 section first. Over here, we have the option of instances, which are on which you have the option to launch the instance. Let's click on this launch instance button. So we need to create two web servers. So it will be our web server one. Okay, there we have to select the application and OS image, which is your Amazon machine image, in which you will be selecting the software configuration and the operating system configurations for your virtual machine. So you will be selecting the Amazon Linux AMI as of now, and the virtual machine type or the instance type you must be selecting based on the requirement of the virtual CPUs, requirement of the memory and storage, and depending on the use case or depending on the requirement of your organization, you will be selecting this T2.micro. Maybe as of now we'll select this T2.micro just for the demonstration purpose. Let's create a new key pair so that we'll be able to securely connect to the virtual machines if we will be, we want to connect to the virtual machines outside from the AWS management console with the help of any third party tools. Maybe that for probably that for that purpose we can create those key pairs. So let's click create as a key pair one. Okay, and .pem format. Let's click on this create key pair. So you will be able to see that one private key pair has been downloaded to my local system and one public key pair has been attached to your virtual machine. Okay, great. Key pair has been created. Now let's move towards the network settings, and then this particular network settings, we will be having the selection of the default VPC, in which VPC we are going to create this virtual machine. Subnet is there over here, right? Let me click on this edit button and let's select this default VPC and subnet. For that, let's select this availability zone 1 maybe for this purpose, and auto assign public IP should be enabled so that once your virtual machine will be created, automatically AWS is going to assign a public IPv4 IP address. And let's create a new security group and let's give name as my web server security group, right? And in the description, let's just select my EC2 security group. This is the description. Inbound rules, we need to add some inbound rules in which first we will be allowing the SSH from anywhere. Another inbound rule we will be adding about the HTTP request. If HTTP request is coming from anywhere over the internet, it will be allowed. And third, let's give it as HTTPS, right? So from anywhere, if HTTPS request is also coming, then it will be allowing all these particular, requests to your virtual machines. Storage should be 8 gigabytes. GP3 we are selecting as of now, and now leave everything default. And in the user data group, we have I have already written this user data in which one web server is going to be installed inside this particular virtual machine by this particular code, right? So this will be your code in which you have updated some important updates, and you have started the HTTPD services on your virtual machine, and one web server will be going to be installed on your virtual machine. So let's just click on this launch virtual machine, and in just couple of seconds you will be able to configure and you will be able to launch the first virtual machine, right? Okay, so let's move towards the instance section again, and let's just create our second EC2 instance or our second web server maybe. Let's give name as my web server 2 this time, and same operating system will be going to select, and the same instance type as well. Key pair, we are going to select the new key pair which we have created just recently, which is also down key pair one. Let me just refresh it and let's see, that this key pair one should be selected, and the VPC section should be selected, because in the network setting we'll be selecting the default VPC, and this EC2 instance we will be launching inside availability zone 2 maybe, and we'll also enable the autosign public IP because we'll automatically provide the public IP address. And as of now, select the existing security group, the security group we have created for the virtual machine first, the same security group will be selecting for this. So my web server SG will be selecting over here, leave everything default, and again in the user data section same user data we can use, but this time let's just edit this to as welcome to server 2 instead of welcome to server 1, and let's just click on this launch instance button. So this is how you have seen that how we can create a virtual machine inside AWS console. And now we have two web servers, in which the first web server is basically in the running state and second web server now in the pending state. So let's meanwhile these all both of the EC2 instances will be running. Let's move towards our next section, in which we will be configuring our load balancer, and we'll be configuring our target groups as well. So first let's create some target group, so that these two web servers will behave like two different targets for the, the request which will be coming from over the internet to our backend web servers. So they will be hitting those particular target as an EC2 instances, right? So this is the target group section, in which we have to specify the group details. So first we have created the clicked on the create target group. Now we have inside this basic configuration section, in which the very first is that we have to choose a target type, right? So the target are instances, or the target are directly your IP addresses, or maybe you are targeting your Lambda function. Lambda is a serverless event driven service inside AWS, where you can create functions and you can use your particular any different programming language probably for the different use cases for your organization, and you can also select the target as your application load balancer as well. So in our case, our target should be the virtual machine, so we are selecting the EC2 instances as of now, right? Target group name, let's give name as my web application firewall, my web application firewall target group, because we are creating this target group and we will be working with the web application firewall as well. So we'll be selecting that. Protocol should be HTTP and port number should be 80, right? And address type should be IPv4, because from the IP address from which we will be going to check the demonstration after the completion of this entire demo, that must be IPv4. So we'll be selecting that. And in the health check section we have this health check protocol is available, and the very advanced health check settings. So first we have health check port, in which we have to select the healthy threshold. So as of now let's click on 3 over here. So this is what the number of consecutive health check successes required before considering an unhealthy target healthy basically. So if you have multiple targets, so it will be taking 3 seconds to check the success required before considering an unhealthy target healthy basically. That is what unhealthy threshold will leave it as a default as 2. Timer should be 5 seconds. This is the amount of time in seconds during which no response means a failed health check. If your backend targets are not responding to this target group, so it will be considering as no response, or it will be considering a failed health check after 5 seconds. in what interval of seconds. Let's select here 6. So the approximately amount of time between your health checks of an individual target should be less than we are opting over here for 6 seconds, right? So leave everything default and let's just click on this next option over here, and now you can see the list of EC2 instances, web server 1 and my web server 2. Those two EC2 instances I have created just now, those are in the running state as right now over here. So let's just click on include as pending below. Now it will include both of the EC2 instances to this particular target group which you are creating, and let's just click on this create target group. You can see that you have successfully created your first my web target group over here, and you can see the details of the configuration whichever whatever you have given to this target group. All the details you can see over here, and as of now the health status of your EC2 instance are in the unused state, right? So it will take a little bit amount of time and it should become healthy uh, status for both of the EC2 instance only. Once it will become healthy, only then you will be able to check the output of this particular entire demonstration, and whatever the target you are selecting for your target group, all the targets should be in the healthy state. Okay. So if those targets are not healthy, then how you are going to check, or how you are going to check the accessibility and check the request whatever you are going to put to check the entire configuration you have done for your target group. So if your target group are EC2 instances, that if they are not healthy, and if you are hitting just like www.yourmywebserver2.com, and it will not show you the response because the EC2 instance is not in the healthy status, right? So it should be in the healthy state. So let's wait for some time, and meanwhile that it become in the healthy state, meanwhile what we can do, we can create our load balancer, because this load balancer is going to distribute the incoming traffic to your backend resources, into your backend web servers which you have configured with your target group. So this load balancer is going to be attached with the target group you have created, and then whatever the request will be coming from the internet on your application load balancer, or maybe on your load balancer, it will transfer the request to the target groups in the backend. This is how this entire process is going to be happen. So in this particular task we are going to create an application load balancer, will provide the required configuration, right? So let's just click on this create load balancer. Now we have different load balancers available in the AWS. The first we have application load balancer, which will basically work on the HTTP and HTTPS traffic request. Then we have the network load balancer. It will also add the TLS offloading at scale, as well as it will also support the UDP and static IP addresses for your workload as well. And then we have gateway load balancer, which can also include the third party virtual appliance, that security appliance that you can that supports the Janeway. And to improve the security of your application, you can use this gateway load balancer as well. For our demonstration, as of now we are going to create application load balancer, right? And the very first thing is that we need to provide the load balancer name. Let's give name as my WAF load balancer. Okay, my web load balancer should be the name of your load balancer. It should be the internet facing, because the request will be coming from the internet, and what type of IP addresses are going to be hit on your load balancer's target, which will be your IPv4 IP address. Then we have this network mapping, and in this particular VPC we have created the EC2 instances in the default VPC section. And the availability zone, we have selected these two availability zones, but as of now let's select all the availability zones so that there will be no error while we will be performing this demonstration. And for the security group, let's cross this and let's select our security group which we have created, my web server SG. So we'll select the security group so that whatever the outbound or inbound traffic configuration rules we have provided to this web server SG will already also be applicable to all the configuration happening inside this application load balancer as well. Okay, now listeners and routing. So this listener and this listening is basically a kind of a process that will check for the connection request by using the port and the protocol which we are configuring basically. Okay, so whatever the rules we are defining over here for this particular listener will be determine how the load balancer route the request to its registered target, and in our case the targets are nothing but are two virtual machines or two web servers. So the protocol should be HTTP, port number should be 80. Target group, here we will be selecting the target group which we have just created, the WAF target group. Apart from that, leave everything default. Don't need to check anything, and just click on this create load balancer. Now your load balancer has been created and the status is right now in the provisioning. Let's wait once this status become active, so that we'll able to see, we'll able to check that okay, the load balancer has been created. Okay, so what are the different things we have done so far is that we have created some EC2 instances. We have created two EC2 instances, and you can see the uh, status of both of the EC2 instance is, basically these are in the running state as of now. It is taking some time. Maybe is there any internet issue is happening? Let me just refresh this page. Let's also, okay. So there is some issue of the internet. Okay, let's wait for a while. Okay, let me just connect my mobile internet to this so that we will be able to complete this demonstration. Okay, let's select the mobile internet over here. So no worries, because we have to complete this demonstration in this particular recording. Okay, this is the Wi-Fi, and let's click on this connect option. Excuse me for just 2 minutes. Okay, so now the internet has been restored, and now we are on the AWS management console, and we can see that both of the EC2 instances are in the running state, and status check is 2 by 2 check pass. So everything is good over here. Let's move towards the target group and let's check if our targets became healthy or not. Let's open this target and let's go to in. Health status is now in the initial state. You can see over here. So we have to wait a little bit for more time, because if they are not healthy, will not able to check the request and will not able to perform the outcome basically, and will not able to see the outcome. So that's why this health status should be healthy. And okay, very good, great, it's great. You can see both of the EC2 instances and your targets are in the healthy state. Let's go to the load balancer now and let's see. Okay, everything is good, guys. Instances are also running, target groups are also healthy, and this load balancer is also in the running state. Great. Okay, so let's me just select this load balancer and let's copy the DNS value of this load balancer. This is the DNS value, and let's just try to paste this DNS value in the browser and let's hit enter, and let's see if it will give us the output or not, and if we are able to access the web server or not. Okay, now we are in the web server 2. Let me just refresh this page a couple of times. Okay, you can see sometime the request is going on web server 1 and sometime the request is going to web server 2, which means both of the servers are good, they are running. The request is going to those servers, but what we need to do right now is that we need to test the SQL injection. And to test the SQL injection, what exactly we need to do, after the DNS name or this entire URL of the load balancer DNS, what you need to do after this .com, you just put a forward slash, And after this forward slash, you need to write something. You need to write first the product, then you need to put a question mark, and then item is equal to security number. The security number can be very based on the different organizations, right? Then you have to put a plus sign or a plus sign. 1 is equal to 1 hyphen hyphen. You have to put that, and if you hit enter, you must show, it will show that not found should be the result over here, and we have seen that request URL was not found on this particular server. Now what happened as just now, the SQL injection went inside the server. This SQL injection we have put it over here, this went inside the particular web server, and since we only have an index page, so the server doesn't know how to solve this particular URL. That is why we are getting this page not found error. Okay, let me just copy this so that next time we'll not have to write this thing again. Oh, I'm just pasting over here so that it is SQL injection. Now, second thing, we have to test the query string parameter, and to test the query string parameter, the same thing we need to do, but a little bit changes we have to done. So after this forward slash, you just put a question mark sign, and as an admin, we are trying to access the query string named as 12345 6. Okay, and let's hit enter, and let's see, the query string parameter is basically giving us the output as web server 2 as of now, and the server always passes the query string inside, and it is resolved by the code that we have written. The code we have written as question mark admin is equal to 12345 6. The query string parameter went inside the web server, and the web server is taking that particular information, the code we have written. So here the query string is passed, and there is no code to resolve to this, but it will not show any type of error. It just became an unused value. So that's why we are getting a response in this particular scenario, but not in the SQL injection type when we were trying to perform the SQL injection attack on this particular web server. So it will not showing the page not found. That means the information which we were trying to access, that is sent inside the web server, but that will not able to give us the output. So what we are going to do as of the next step now, we'll move towards the web application firewall, WAF. We need to search WAF and shield over here. So let's go to the WAF over here, AWS WAF. So in this particular web access control list or WAF, where we will be adding some customized rules for the location restriction basically, okay, and query string. Okay, over here we just need to click on this create web access control list, and now we will be defining the configuration. We will be defining all the things over here. So the name of your web server, your web application firewall should be my WAF web access control list. This is the name I'm giving to this basically. Okay. Description, you can write anything. If this is an optional, if you can write that WAF for SQL injection, WAF for geolocation maybe. CloudWatch metric name, it will take the default name you will be providing to the name of your WAF. It will take the default name, so you don't have to change that. Okay. Your resource type should be regional resource, in which you can have your application load balancer, your gateways, APIs, and everything. So we have the application load balancer. So that's why we are selecting the regional resource over here. Okay, these all things you have to configure. Now let's just click on this next button. Okay, before this next button, one more thing, we have to add AWS resource, and in the resource section, we need to add this application load balancer, my web load balancer. Okay, I forgot to add that. Okay. This should be add over here. Now let's just click on the next option. Now we have to add some rules, and we have to add some rule groups. So first we have this, let's click on this add rules option, add my own rules and rule groups we are setting up over here. So rule type should be your rule builder, because we are custom rules to inspect for the patterns of the query string and headers, whatever the information, whatever the configuration you are putting over here. So this is the customized configuration. So that's why you should use this rule builder. Okay, so the rule type should be your rule builder, and in this name section, let's just type we are creating this rule for geolocation restriction. Geolocation your restriction. Okay, this rule is we are creating this rule for your geolocation restriction. Okay, rule type should be regular type, and if a request doesn't match the statement. So if a request doesn't match the statement, it should be inspect that which from which country the request is originating from. So let me just select over here India, that if any request is coming from India from the source IP address, you can allow that request to access the web server on which this application load balancer target is basically attached. Okay, so the action we are selecting that when the request is matching the statement above, you should block the request. If not, then you can allow the particular request. Now let's just click on this add rule. Now here we are only allowing requests to come from India, and all the requests that come from other countries will be blocked. That is what we have done. Now in this particular rule section, add my own rules and add my own rule group section over here. We have first, okay, the rule type we have already given. Now the rule one is basically add my rules and add my own rule groups. Again, the first is we need to select the rule builder. So one rule we have created for the geolocation, and second rule we are going to perform for the query string restriction. Query string restriction. Rule type should be regular type, and if it matches the statement, type should be your query string over here. Okay, query string over here, and if it will contain the string, if it will contain the string to match, maybe we can write over here admin, because from the admin we tried to enter inside the web server by doing this query string parameters. So the text transformation over here leave as default. You can leave it as default. Okay, and action should be blocked. If someone tries from this admin is equal to 12345 6, do not give the response. Right now we are getting the response because the information is going inside the web server. Again, if we will try to fetch the information from this admin query string parameter, it will not show us the result. That is what the output will be. Let's click on this add rule. So anytime in the request URL contains a query string parameter as an admin, this web application firewall is going to be block that request. That is what the rule we have added over here. Okay. Okay, under this add rule section, we'll just click on this add managed rule groups this time. Okay, so it will take a few minutes to load the page basically, and it will list all the rules which are managed by the AWS. So AWS managed rule groups are here, and different rule groups which are created by the AWS. So let's just click on this AWS managed rule groups, and it will take. Okay, it is now opened. Now we have one option over here. Let me just search for that option where it is. There should be a SQL database option available, admin protection, non-Linux PHP, this SQL, and let's just add to the web ACL over here. Now let's scroll down and click on the add rule. Now we have three rules over here. You can see the first is geolocation restriction rule, which will be having the block action, query string restriction, which will also have the block action, and we have the AWS managed SQL rule. So this is the third rule we have configured over here. Now let's click on this next button, and all these are available over here. Click on the next button, and everything is good. Everything is good over here. Just click on this next and click on create web access control list. Now, once this web application firewall is configured, if you just go again to the DNS of the load balancer, and if you try, first we will try the load balancer DNS by default, and then we will be trying what we'll be trying. Let me just connect to the internet if it is working or not. Let's see. I think internet has been restored. Okay, now we are connected and web access firewall is also created. This is the my WAF web ACL you can see over here. And let's again go to the DNS value of your load balancer, and let's just remove this from here and hit enter button. So it is giving response, welcome to the web server 2, welcome to the web server 1, and in every time I'm refreshing it, it is taking the request to the different web server based on the health of the web servers. Now what we'll do, we'll again try the query string, the SQL injection over here, and let me just copy the same thing over here. Okay, and let me just put it over here. So last time it has given us page not found, but this time it will be showing us 403 forbidden. That should be the output over here. You can see the SQL injection is basically blocked by your web application firewall before it goes inside the server. Before the configuration of the web application firewall, it was showing us page not found. That's because the information was going inside the web server, then it is showing us the response. But this time the request friendly blocked by your web application firewall. That's the beauty of web application firewall. And if you try the same query string parameter again over here, the query string parameter, that question mark admin is equal to 12345 6, and if you try the same response you will be getting over here. So it is also blocking the query string request as well before it could go inside the web server. You can see this is what the beauty of this entire lab, guys. So the query string we have blocked, the SQL injection we have blocked, and users are from other countries should be blocked, but users are from India are able to access the backend servers. We have seen this particular thing, right? So any type of lab you are performing, always remember to delete all the resource you have created. So let me just quickly delete all the resource I have created so far. Okay, resource is being used. Let me just first go to the EC2 section and let's just terminate our EC2 instances. Okay, so I will do that. All the resource, I will delete all the resource from here, guys. So it's just a request to all of you that always terminate all the virtual machine after the completion of the lab. Okay, always delete all the resource you have created. Let me just delete this target group as well. Okay, and first let's try to delete this load balancer so that everything should be deleted. Delete load balancer and confirm. Okay, great. Load balancer is deleted. Now let's try to delete the target group as well. Target group is also deleted, and let's again go to the web application firewall, and now we will be deleting the WAF as well. So I hope, Fox, everything is clear to all of you, and you have seen that how we can implement these things to the application load balancer with the help of WAF, and how we can perform the SQL, how we can block the SQL injection attacks and the query string parameters, and how we can configure this web application firewall so that it will be work on the geolocation restrictions policy as well. So this is what the entire demonstration based on the particular input we have seen, that how we can implement a WAF with the application load balancer so that we can block the SQL injection, geolocation, and query string parameters as well. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you like the video and this particular demo. If yes, then please hit the like button on this particular video. Also, please share it with your friends, and also Please do subscribe my YouTube channel and please support my YouTube channel. We will meeting again with another demonstration of the Amazon Web Services, maybe, or Azure or Google GCP. And I think you will be getting so much information over in this particular the cloud virus channel based on the different cloud providers. I will be giving you so much material on this particular YouTube channel. So please subscribe my YouTube channel and please support. Thank you so much.